In life, we all encounter obstacles, and those obstacles come in all different shapes, sizes, and forms. The question is, how do we handle those obstacles? Do we attack them head on, or do we allow them to make us quit? Welcome to the No Quit Living podcast, where we aim to motivate and inspire listeners to never give up on themselves, their dreams, or their goals. We will interview successful people from all walks of life as they share their no-quit stories when they had the choice to give up or give in, but they didn't. We thank you for listening, and we hope to be that jolt of positivity as you go for your greatness. Welcome to episode number 141 of the No Quit Living podcast. I'm your host, Christopher J. Worth, and today's theme of the day is discipline. Our quote of the day comes to us from Bob Proctor. Discipline is giving yourself a command and following it up with action. Today's episode is sponsored by the good people over at West Fair Communications, who publish the Westchester County Business Journal and the Fairfield County Business Journal. These newspapers do a wonderful job in covering all aspects of the business world within two of the most influential markets in the New York metropolitan area. You can also take advantage of their daily news feeds, which keep track on the companies and thought leaders in these important regions. For more information, take a look at www.westfaironline.com. Trust me, once you start reading, you won't quit. Today's episode is filled with some really good and useful tips. Our guest shares a lot of interesting stories and various tidbits that I think we can all learn from. Trevor Crane shares how he accidentally fell into his publishing career, where he currently helps other people successfully write their books, and as a result, he has 10x'd his income. I hope you enjoy today's episode. Trevor, I'd like to welcome you to the No Quit Living podcast.
Thank you, brother. Nice to be here.
I appreciate it. So the first question we ask everybody is, are you ready to make it happen today?
Dude, born ready.
Awesome. So the number one objective of our show is to motivate and inspire listeners to never give up. And I was curious if you had a story about adversity or perhaps a challenging time that really tested you in life and you could have given up or given in, but you didn't and you kept on going.
You know, good question. I guess all the damn time is a short answer, but that's not specific. So I think that anytime that we tackle something new, that I tackle something new, it's typically exciting at the beginning. You know, I talk to little kids, for example. I'm teaching a kids book course right now with my daughter who's 11. And what I have seen is that kids and adults are very similar. We all were kids at one stage. We like to start things. We don't always like to finish. And so I think in the middle of these projects, I have a great book idea. When my daughter was 7, she wrote her first book that became a bestseller when she was 8 years old. And now she's got 10 best-selling books. We're working on her 11th right now that we did in a kids' book writing workshop. And so when I was talking to those kids, I'm asking them actually the same questions I ask my adults that I work with, who are business owners, entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, speakers, things like that. And I was asking them, hey, what could slow you down or stop you in getting this, in finishing? And then they come up with all kinds of crazy things like Minecraft, YouTube, homework, things like that. Adults come up with all other kinds of excuses. The specific thing I'll share is that I think since we've been all facing I want to quit, give up, and not finish since we were little, I would say that I remember a time when you asked the question, the first thing that came to mind, Christopher, when I was in high school. I was a sophomore in high school. I maybe weighed $130, dripping wet, maybe $125. And I was playing in a game where I got tackled and hurt really bad. And or at least I was bad. It was bad for me. Like I was crying. I was 13 years old. And I was underneath this big pile, and I got hit so hard in the leg that I couldn't breathe. And I was underneath this pile of bigger dudes than me, and I wanted to quit, man, and give up. And I remember that it felt like a pivotal moment for me because I knew I had a choice. But see, my pattern, I wanted to quit, but I was the last string. Like I was like the third, support that came in. Like all the other running backs had gotten injured, and I was the only other person that knew the plays. I decided in that moment, and I remember it was like this clarity moment of, I was 13 years old, and I was like, am I going to be the kind of guy that's going to give up, or am I going to, find a way to not quit? And if it had been about me, dude, I think I would have quit. I'm pretty much 100% sure. What I did instead was I realized that because a team of people was counting on me, I did not have the choice. So that was the first time that I think that happened for me, that I can, when you ask the question. And I think that it still shows up for me. So we all have a formula for what has to happen in order for us not to quit. For me, it's when I realize that what I'm doing is something bigger than myself and that there's other people counting on me. That's what happened that day when I was a teen, when I was 13. And that's what happens currently. I try to set myself up to remember that so that I finish what I started.
No, I like that, and I appreciate you sharing that little bit backstory about an event in your life when you were 13. And I think it's interesting how you fast forward in life, and obviously you referenced when you have a team and you have other people that are counting on you. And I think that's the importance of not only business, life, personal relationships, is when there are other people involved, you know that sometimes it's not just about you, it's about the bigger team. And I appreciate you sharing that. So I wanted to ask if you wouldn't mind just telling us a little bit about who you are today and exactly what you do with your clients.
All right. So I've had several businesses over the years in different industries: tourism, environmental protection, and in marketing and advertising. And I've made millions of dollars in those businesses, and that was all really cool up until I lost it all. So I filed a $2.2 million bankruptcy at one stage and had to build everything back. So I've succeeded and I've failed. I thought it was really cool when I was making good money, and then really scared, feeling like a big loser when I lost it all. I accidentally became a business consultant. So about 15 years ago, I started, the success I had in my businesses, friends and family and acquaintances started saying, "Hey, can you help me?" And lo and behold, I was pretty good at that. I've always been a good coach. From when I was a little kid, I had to figure out, since I wasn't the fastest and I wasn't the smartest and I wasn't the most coordinated, in order for me to play sports or like win in any way, I had to figure out a way to be creative. And so I became a creative consultant. That's not ever what I've called myself, but I was very creative to try to get the results I wanted, even if I wasn't the smartest, best, fastest, and whatever. So I became a consultant, and then about going on maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I wrote my first book. And it had been a dream of mine to write a book for years, over 20 years, since I was 20. People said, "Trevor, you should write a book." And I'll bet you that someone listening right now, you've probably heard that you should write a book. But I failed for 20 years to do it, and I felt stupid. Either I felt bad because I would start writing the book and then not finish. I would start writing the book and then go, who would ever want to listen to me? Maybe I'm not successful enough to write a book yet. And then I got a little bit successful in some business things, and then I was too busy to write a book, and it just never happened. And so I finally bit the bullet and swallowed my pride and my ego, and I hired somebody to help me. Someone who was really good at not just writing best-selling books, but helping other people do it as well and making money behind them. So a few years ago when I did that first book, I 10x'd my income. My wife and I did, so together. And she wrote her first book, I wrote my first book, and it took about 12 months. But dude, think about that. Like, people hired me as a consultant, as a business consultant, to help them make more money. And I was like, well, damn, this just 10x my income. So everybody listening right now, put a 0 behind whatever the most money is you've ever made. And that's the change that having a book had in my business and in my life. So I started a hybrid publishing company. So for the last few years, I've been trying to help people tell their story. I'm here telling y'all my story. That's really cool. But a more important story to be told is your story. And that's what I've been passionate about, because that builds people's credibility, authority, and positioning like nothing else. And your book can become your most powerful marketing tool. So that's what I've been working on.
No, that's awesome. And I think, don't quote me with the exact actual statistics, but I was listening to a video a couple weeks ago, and someone was talking about how many people go to their graves with a book still in them and then don't go ahead and actually do it. So I appreciate you sharing that. And you said that you failed for 20 years. I don't think that's an accurate statement. I don't think you failed for 20 years. I think you were actually writing the book over those 20 years in and around your mind and your experiences. And I'm just awesome that you shared that with us, and congratulations to you as well as your wife. And I believe you said your daughter was a 11 or 10-time best-selling author?
Yeah, my daughter is 11 years old now, and she's working on her 11th book. She's got a couple others she's working on, but she has 10 number one best-selling books.
Wow, that's impressive, and the fact that she's an 11-year-old is just amazing. So obviously writing and publishing in some way, shape, or form runs in your family.
Well, this is how do you said that that your show is all about never giving up on yourself. Like what I do as a father, as I try to help my daughter with pull out the things that I think she's good at or great at. And when I started helping people with books and publishing their story that makes a difference and helps them meet their mission, make more money, improve their marketing, things like that. I believe that everybody has multiple books inside of them, and there's a business and a mission beyond the book. Oftentimes we get all caught up thinking that the book is the end result. Yes, I have done it. I have built it, and they will come. Well, Kevin Costner was not telling the truth. In the field of dreams, if I build it, they will not come. You got to do some marketing. You got to figure out the message behind it. And so what I did with my daughter is I found something that she was passionate about. Her first book was about the 3 ninja kitties. And because I think my daughter is a genius and that she's creative, and I wanted to capture her magic memory, her magic creativity forever so that it lasts forever, I challenged her to write a story. And I thought she'd write it about this or that might be inspirational, about the cool things we do as a father-daughter. But instead, she wanted to write about what she wanted, what she cares about. And so not only did we build that book from her, and it took a lot of attention as a parent to help her finish and not give up on herself, to get really creative. She did all the artwork for her first couple of books. And then now she does most of it. But at any rate, it took a lot of creativity to figure out how to pull that out of her. And now she has a business behind her books that for the first time, now she's 11, she's really embracing, and we are teaching some kids book writing workshops. We just did a program with almost 40 kids where we wrote a book in the middle of our workshop. And, did I capture, was it running in the family? What I did is there was a spark there of her just creativity, like all kids are. My daughter believes that kids are the most creative people on the planet, and I would agree. Then I had to throw gasoline on it or she would not finish, because she'd rather play Minecraft or watch in the background. In the other room, she's watching some kind of spirit TV cartoon show, something like that. So anyway, brother, back to you.
No, I appreciate it, and I think it's just amazing that you can do that for your daughter. It's something that I try to do with my 3 kids, is to inspire them to go after whatever it is that they want to pursue in life. So if you had to define yourself in only one word, what would that word be?
Powerful. I'd say powerful beyond measure is one of the phrases that came up. Like, I used to think I was really scared of what I could do. I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, the son of a horseshoer, and my stepfather was a roofer. And when we didn't have enough, when there wasn't enough food, or there wasn't enough money to pay the electric bill or the water or things like that, my biggest fear was that I wasn't enough and that I wasn't going to be loved and that I would be this loser. And so I realized a few years ago, maybe a couple decades now, that everything we need, we've already got, and that we are powerful beyond measure.
No, I like that, and I think that stands exactly who you are as a person. One of the things we try to do, Trevor, every episode is motivate and inspire listeners, and I was curious if you have either a daily or a morning ritual that you swear by.
Oh, that's a great question. I do believe in morning rituals, and the better The more specific you are about them, as long as you stick with them, then awesome. I would be lying to you to tell you that right now my morning ritual is epic. So do I stick by a morning ritual every morning? I tend to go in spurts. So lately I've got a 4-month-old son, and we've been traveling a lot, and so my morning ritual has been flipped upside down. So I think a great book on this is called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. He gives some great options. I've got a new mentor of mine that I'm working with. His name is Garrett J. White, and he has this program called The Warrior's Way. It's called Wake Up Warrior. Everybody should go check that out. It's an awesome program, and every day my focus is on what he calls the core four. So I don't necessarily do this every morning before I start my day, but things that Garrett talks about are body, being, balance, and business. So did something to exercise, to move your body. And today is like over 2,000 days in a row that I've exercised every single day. Like if I was to be specific, it's 2,756 days in a row will be today that I've exercised every single day. That's body. What are you going to do for your body to move, shake, and sweat? Being, there's a little bit of meditation and journal writing there. I believe that your story is the most powerful story, and a life worth living is a life worth telling. So journaling, I think, is an important part of that. Body, being, balance is that you have some balance where you connect with and you contribute to someone you love, hopefully your significant other and or family. So it's like something for my daughter, my dad, my wife, that I do something every day. I try to send my wife an "Oh baby," an "Oh baby" letter, a note or something that tells her something that I love or appreciate about her. And then business is that you learn something and teach something. So every day I'm looking to discover something that I can apply to my business when it comes to marketing, sales, or leadership, because those are a function of how I can make a difference in the world. And then you don't know something if you don't know how to teach it. You can't live it if you don't know it, and you don't know it if you can't teach it. So every time I learn something, my challenge to myself, or oftentimes when I have my daily podcast that I share with people, I want them to go journal it. I want them to go apply it, but you don't know it if you can't live it or if you can't teach it. So share it with someone else. My daughter, at 11 years old, we just taught this class in front of her 5th grade class, the book writing workshop. She knows the content of our book writing course better because she's taught it, better because we did a course on it, better because I had her stand in front of the room and share it with others. You don't really know it until you can teach it. Now, that's a lot to do in the morning, but I try to get all that stuff done every day, and my goal is to get it done in less than an hour before I start my day. I would be lying if I told you I do it every day, with my religion. It's not that. I wish it was, but it's not there yet.
Well, congratulations. 2,756 days in a row exercising is pretty remarkable. I hear so many times from people that, I don't have time, I can't do it. And one of the things that I believe is that you don't have to have an insane 5, 6, 7 hour workout regimen, but I believe that every single person at some point during the day should do something exercise, even if it's a 5 or 10 minute walk at lunch. So I'm glad you do that. And I'm a big fan of Garrett's as well, and I love his Warrior program. So I want to switch lanes here and ask you a question. If you could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Oh, dude, geez, I don't have any idea. Dead or alive, dinner with anyone. There's got to be some sexy women out there that would be fun to have dinner with. Let me see. Who, dead or alive? You know what? I think my answer to that is that I would do some research. I'm not the guy that already knows exactly the dude I'd like to meet with or whatnot. I've got a big list of mentors I want to become friends with. So I'd probably want to meet with someone who's alive, because then they can contribute. We could become friends. And I would like to, for years, I wanted to become a friend with my mentors. friends with my mentors. And then I realized that that's not what my mentors want. Like if I go to them and I'm sucking on their awesomeness, it's like if I'm just sitting at their feet as a disciple, that's not what leaders really want. I mean, now it seems like that on social media because we want more people to follow us. But you know what? You're not necessarily friends with your followers. Who we become friends with are the people that actually lead, motivate, and inspire us. And I believe when I went to my first Tony Robbins event, and it's called Unleash the Power Within. If you guys haven't been, you should totally go. The event changed my life back in 2002. He opened up my life, my mind to some truths that I wish people were sharing with me. Had shared with me earlier, like they were just absolute truths of like how you can live a better quality of life. And I was like, why didn't anybody tell me this stuff? Like this seems pretty obvious, pretty simple things, but nobody shared it with me before. And Tony said, I invite you to walk with me, to become a leader with me. So my new goal is to become a mentor to my mentors. See, that's when he didn't say follow me. He said walk with me, or something to that effect, that he wanted me to become the type of man that changed my life, but also affected others. And so I felt like that was a personal conversation he had with me in front of 2,000 people in the room or whatever. I always look at that when I'm reading a book or when I'm listening to a podcast or I'm at an event, the presenter is communicating to me. She and I are having a conversation. So that's my goal. And in order to figure out the one person who, I don't know. I'd have to do some research to figure it out. Long answer and not the answer you may be looking for, but that was mine. Back to you.
That's what it's all about. So what does the word accountability mean to you?
Accountability. So discipline is the word that I think comes up that I think is the most powerful for me, that shifted things. That's why I started exercising every day. On the back end of my bankruptcy, feeling like I was the biggest loser on the planet because I thought, when you don't pay back people when you owe them money, that makes you a liar and a cheat and a thief and a lot of things. And I used to argue for inconsistency. I used to say, I'm consistently inconsistent. I didn't want anybody telling me what to do. I wanted to, not even me. I didn't want to be boxed in. And I realized that discipline was challenged by a program and a question I was asked at one stage, what discipline meant to me. And I didn't have any idea. I didn't even want it in my vocabulary. So discipline became a definition of every single day. Then that's why I started that, what would be good for me, good for others, and be a contribution to the greater good. And it became that exercising every day. And to your comment about this, it was something simple. I needed to give myself a simple rule of how to meet that, because it wasn't go sweat in a sweat lodge or work out with weights every single day for 2 hours a day, because that's not sustainable. So it's 20 minutes a day. And I share that. You asked a question about accountability. You must think I'm high because I'm not answering that question. But the truth is I am, because for me, I had to come up with something that was a strong enough reason why to follow through. And then the accountability came naturally, but I use accountability more as just making sure that I don't let myself down. So that's why I have a mentor. I think is important for accountability. Somebody who can help you with not just a thing, but the right thing. Like you go do the thing that's smart, not the thing that just you think is good enough. The mindset and the information that you have today got you where you're at, but it's not going to get you where you need to go. So why don't you find a mentor to lead you first? That begins my accountability. I don't always just look inside to find out what I need to go do. I'm also looking for help of other people who have been there. That's my secret sauce, is ask for help. But then my mentor is not my mommy or my daddy when it comes to accountability. So I have to have that strong reason why, to have the discipline to follow through, so that it's something bigger than me. For me to exercise every day is not about me anymore. It's not about how I look good in the mirror. The accountability that I have is a group accountability. It's the continual sharing of the fact that I've made a commitment that I'm going to follow through with. So I'm not going to now look like a jackass, Christopher, if I commit that to you and I say it to you and then I fail to do it. now I've because now it's more about the audience and the people that I get to connect with and contribute to and say, you know what, I was able to do this when I was sick. I was able to do this when I didn't sleep. I was able to do this when I was on an airplane. I was doing push-ups or tricep extensions in the middle of the thing when the airline stewardess is telling me I can't be doing that. I'm doing it anyway. I was able to find a way, and I do it for you. I do it for my daughter. I do it for my 4-month-old son, and that's my accountability. Now, I love it if I have an accountability group and a community of people I can connect with, because then we can be on this journey together. I didn't brag that I do an everyday discipline with my morning routine right now because I broke it. I broke my commitment with myself because I was not accountable inside of a group of peers that are all doing the same thing. And my connection with Garrett J. White and the Warrior Movement, really, the brothers are there to support me, and I just didn't plug in. Bad Trevor. But I think accountability is all of that in a bag of chips.
No, I appreciate you expanding on that. Now, I wanted to ask you if there's anything exciting that you're working on or something you'd like to talk to our listeners about or share.
Dude, I would say, as far as I want to give everybody a gift. When I do a training, this I always see as a training, even though we're just kind of chatting about different stuff. I'll give everybody my first book that helped me 10x my income, and it can help you a lot as well. It's my gift to everybody. So go to trevorcrane.com/free book. And the book is called High Paying Clients, and it's basically how to attract and convert. It's a step-by-step system to attracting them in cool ways without doing stuff that sucks. And that's my gift to everybody. I'll also extend for you, if you guys want to reach out to me on social media, just go to trevorcrane.com and you can reach out to me on any of the social media challenges and just ask for help. I'd be glad to share with you how you could publish a book. I've been very passionate about that. I've got a program called Blank Page to Bestseller in 90 days or less. And as you heard, we have a program for kids' books as well. But if you go to trevorcrane.com, you should be able to find the links for that. The link right to the webinar that is a free training that I'm redoing right now because it's so freaking awesome and it's so good now, and I'm going to make it so much better. Go to epicauthor.com. That's our publishing company is Epic Author Publishing. And just shoot me a message if you want some help with kids' books or something like that, because there's so many cool things I'm doing right now. Dude, Christopher, I know what it is. I'm publishing a new book on goal setting and goal getting. It's called Get Any Goal. And I'm about to launch a 30-day challenge that I'm giving away for free to my audience. And it hasn't started yet. But if you want to join me in that 30-day challenge, I give you one of my books that I wrote that saved my life. I've got 10 or 11 best-selling books right now. I think I've got 11. I'm going to give that book away. You get the audio book. I'm giving away a t-shirt with it, and I want to share your story. I want to help you set and get a goal in 30 days, and then I want to showcase your result in my new book called Get Any Goal. That's my new thing that's going to come out this year, and that would be pretty badass. So the way to get that, I'll tell you what, download my app, and you can join my 30-day challenge. And you just have to look at that. There's going to be a little button there in the near future. As soon as we go live on it and you can start the 30-day challenge with me, you can get my app if you text message my name to the number I'm about to give you. So write this down or put this in your phone. My name is Trevor. That's the keyword you want to send. And the number you're going to text to is 36260. So if you pull out your phone and you put in the number 36260, and then all you have to do is put in the word Trevor, then you'll have a link that'll go right to your text message thing. You can put my app on your phone, and I'll invite you to my 30-day challenge, and you can be part of my next book, Get Any Goal.
That's awesome. I appreciate it. It's always nice to receive free gifts, so hopefully our listeners will connect with you on that. And then last question I want to ask you, Trevor, before we let you go is if you have some parting words you'd like to leave with our listeners.
Get help. I think that's I always like to share that you can create results, and results will come from two places, either mistakes or mentors. And so you can figure it out yourself. That's not a problem. I believe in you. I believe in people. I believe you can do it all. But if you find the right mentor, I mean, geez, even in when Dorothy landed in the Wizard of Oz, in Oz, and when she in the movie where the tornado picked her up and slammed her in Oz, and she was landed there, and she was in this strange land, and she decided she wanted to go home. She figured out she's like, I'm scared. I don't know where to go. I want some help. And all the little people said, hey, why don't you go to, follow the yellow brick road and you'll make it to the Emerald City. So, if you decide that you want to get to the Emerald City, there is a path through the woods. And other people have been through it. And if you find the right mentor, in this case, it was the little people, there's a golden path. You don't have to use your own machete to get there through the trial and error. Get some help. Find a mentor who has experience getting results for other people. Measure it like that, not from the standpoint of, oh my gosh, this person is great and they're so cool and I like them. That's good. But find out if they have helped other people down the path. And then just stay the path, man. You need a lot of help on the way. Dorothy did. She used the Tin Woodsman and the Cowardly Lion and the Scarecrow helped her along the way. It takes a team. Anything great was not created alone. Anything truly magnificent wasn't created alone. It was created by a team. And one of the first members of your team I think you should build is finding the right mentor for you, and then do what they say and just get some help. And don't try to go it alone all the time. You don't have to. That's not the smart way. That's not the intelligent way. That's not the way rich people do it. If you look at some of the most successful people in the world, they constantly seek to find their next mentor and people to help them do stuff. All right, that's my 2 cents.
No, I appreciate it. It's some great insight, and I think it's very, very true, is find a mentor or a coach or somebody that's been through or knows what you're going through and ask for help. And I think it's easier said than done, but you need to be very vulnerable. So I really appreciate, Trevor, what you share with us. Definitely appreciate some of those free gifts and definitely would recommend that our listeners connect with you. But thank you so much for your time and being a guest on our show today.
Thank you, Christopher. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you for listening to episode number 141. Trevor Crane was very open and candid, and he shared a lot with us today, including how filing a $2.2 million bankruptcy actually led him to the successful career that he has today. He shared one thing early on in today's episode, and I absolutely loved it. He mentioned how we all like to start things, but we don't always like to finish them. Does that resonate with you? Because it sure did with me. Trevor mentioned how he has a new goal of becoming a mentor to his mentors, which I think is a really neat goal, and it fits well with our Paying It Forward theme. As a workout junkie myself, Trevor shared how he just passed his 2,756th consecutive day exercising, which is quite an accomplishment. Trevor mentioned how discipline is a very powerful word and how it became an important part of his everyday. In his parting words, Trevor suggested that we get help. And help usually comes in two ways, through mistakes or through mentors. Trevor recommended that we follow people that have done it before us and been through what we are looking to do. He also shared that it takes a team and how a team accomplishes anything great together. So today's parting words follow that same theme. Do you look to others for help and suggestions, or do you always try to do things on your own? If you're looking to do more, be more, and accomplish more, perhaps you should look at who was on your team, who was on your bus, and who was in your corner. And as we are all about paying it forward, try to be there today for someone else just because. Be there for someone else, for their needs, and go for your greatness. And lastly, to our listeners, thank you. We truly appreciate your time, and we hope our episodes inspire you to keep on attacking life and never giving up. To quote Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, it's always too early to quit.